rise for the Honorable Judge Cotter.
Thank you.
Court is in session. You may now be seated.
Hello, everyone. I will now call to the stand the prosecution for their opening statements.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, today we will prove that John Johnson is guilty of stealing a candy bar. Officer James, a witness and police officer, saw the whole scene unfold in front of his eyes. We predict that he will say that he clearly saw a 12-year-old boy with blonde hair run out of Mrs. White's shop while clutching a candy bar. Our second witness, Mrs. White, is the owner of the shop. She will most likely say that she was helping a customer atop a ladder when she saw John flee the shop with the candy bar in his hand. Once again, we will prove to you that John is indeed guilty of theft. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, counsel. Now, would the defense like to give their opening statements?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. We are here today to discuss the case of White v. Johnson and prove that Mr. Johnson is innocent of stealing a candy bar. We expect to hear from John's best friend, who will explain that they were playing video games 15 minutes before the crime, which can be proved by game logs. His house is located 30 minutes away from the store. John, being 12, cannot drive, so it would be extremely difficult to get there on time. John's mother, Miss Johnson, will testify where they were before the crime, so I hope you will see that John is innocent.
Thank you, counsel. I would now like to call to the stand the prosecution's first witness.
I would like to call up Officer James.
Please put your hand on here. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please state your name and spell your last name for the court.
Officer James, James.
Thank you.
Did you see anyone helping John escape with the candy?
No, I saw no accomplices of John.
Have you seen John near this area before?
Yes, a few times with his friends.
And can you identify the boy in this courtroom?
Yeah, he's over there.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, counsel. The defense, would you like to cross-examine this witness?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections to the cross-examination?
No, Your Honor.
You may proceed.
Good morning, Officer James. Why didn't you chase after John instead of just watching him go?
It was a crowded street, so I had to follow him slowly so that it wouldn't hurt anyone.
The only thing you can say about John is that he has blonde hair.
No, I can also say that he was holding a brown rectangle that was small and it looked like a candy bar.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, counsel. You may be seated. I would now like to call to the stand the defense's first witness.
We would like to call out Mr. Birdie Bird.
Please put your hand on here. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Please state your full name and spell your last name for the court.
Birdie Bird. Birtybert.
Thank you. You may now proceed.
Good morning, Mr. Birdie Bird. Where were you and Mr. Johnson at 11:45 on Friday the 13th of January? We were at his house. What were you and John doing at the time? We were playing video games on his Minecraft server. And how much would you say our client breaks rules? Not very much. No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, counsel. The prosecution, would you like to cross-examine this witness?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections to the cross-examination?
Objection.
You may proceed, prosecution.
Around when did you leave your house?
Around 9 a.m.
About how far is your house from John's house?
About 5 minutes away.
What were you guys doing? Do you know what John was doing at around noon?
I was not there, but at 11:45 we had just logged off the Minecraft server and I left.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, counsel. You may be seated. I would now like to call to the stand the prosecution's second witness.
I would like to call up Mrs. White.
Will you please place your hand on there? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please state your name and spell your last name for the court.
Mrs. White, White.
Thank you. You may proceed.
Do you know what John stole?
Yes, a candy bar.
About how many times have you seen John near or in the store?
Only about once or twice.
Can you identify the boy in this courtroom?
Yes, he is over there.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. Would you like to cross-examine the witness?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections to the cross-examination?
No, Your Honor.
You may proceed, defense.
Good morning, Mrs. White. Did you have any employees or security to stop?
No,
Has anything like this happened before?
no, never.
Okay, that is all, Your Honor.
You may be seated. I would like to call to the stand the defense's second witness.
We'd like to call up Miss Johnson.
Thank you. Please place your hand on here. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Please state your name and spell your last name for the court.
Miss Johnson, Johnsson.
Thank you. You may proceed.
Good morning. Good morning, Miss Johnson. Where was my client, Mr. John, at 11:45 on Friday, the 13th of January?
Him and his friend were just leaving the house.
How far away do you and my client, who's your son, live from the general store on foot?
Approximately 30 minutes.
Could John have gone to the shop around 12 p.m. even if he did try?
It would be pretty unlikely.
Okay, that is all, Your Honor.
Thank you, counsel. Prosecution, would you like to cross-examine the witness?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections to the cross-examination?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may proceed.
What were Bertie Bert and John doing at around noon?
Bertie Bert had already left the house, and I told John to do something more productive.
Was John inside the house at around noon?
I'm not sure.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, counsel. You may be seated. Now, would the prosecution like to include any evidence in their testimony?
Yes, Your Honor. Exhibit A, Officer James, when he was following John, he saw John drop his wallet, and inside was his ID. This is his ID, and you will note the wet stains showing that it dropped on the slushy ground.
Thank you. Would you like to add any evidence of your own defense?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor. The game logs of the server, and you can see that at 11:45 and 11:46, they both left, and meaning that if they would have, even if they did try, gone there around 12:15 instead of 12.
Thank you. Prosecution, would you like to say anything to this?
Yes, Your Honor. It has been confirmed by witnesses that John used a bike to get to the general store. This would explain his fast travel time.
Thank you. Now, I would like to call the prosecution to the stand for their closing statements.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you have been shown the evidence presented here today. Mrs. White witnessed the theft and tried to stop John, but she couldn't. Officer James witnessed John run out of the store in a suspicious manner. He followed him and saw him drop his wallet, which contained an ID that said John Johnson. Based on all the evidence, it is evident beyond a reasonable doubt that John committed this theft. I hope you will decide to deliver the only fair verdict, that John is guilty.
Thank you, counsel. Now, I would like to call the defense for their closing statements.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you for hearing our case, and hopefully now you will see that our client, Mr. John, is innocent, and that he was at his house, and that he couldn't have done the theft because he couldn't have been there at 12 a.m. because he was at his house. Thank you again for hearing our case and listening about how our client is not guilty, and I hope that you see the same verdict that our client is, well, not guilty.
Thank you. We will now let the jury deliberate to decide whether or not Mr. Johnson is guilty or not guilty. All rise to the verdict. Our jury has decided that our defendant, John Johnson, is guilty on all charges. Thank you. This court is adjourned.